This is ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News.
Prostitution, the word itself conjures images of a woman on a street corner. But the reality is that most human trafficking now takes place online. ABC 7's Kate Flexter joins us with more on how traffickers are using the technology and what police officers are doing to counter it. Kate?
That's right, Haley. Social media is actually the #1 way that traffickers are seeking out their victims.
Dr. Brooke Bello of More to Life, an organization for victims of human trafficking, teaches young people how to avoid predators online.
When a kid has the world in their pocket, a violator has total access to them.
Bello sees that education as one of the main ways to combat human trafficking.
Long gone are the days when kids that are not responsible or still growing can have all that access to the world, because as we stated, the whole world of predators has access to them, and they are itching and discovering and luring because nobody's watching.
Those very aspects that make the internet an ideal place for predators and human trafficking also make it an ideal place for those fighting against it. In a 2012 speech, President Obama suggested fighting fire with fire.
We're turning the tables on the traffickers. Just as they are now using technology and the internet to exploit their victims, we're going to harness technology to stop them.
Derek Thompson, also of More to Life, says using online methods against online sex trafficking will be crucial.
I mean, social media, it can be used by traffickers and pimps. It's obviously a great resource and tool for them, but for the anti-trafficking community and for us at More to Life, social media is a huge tool as well.
Joining us to talk more about human trafficking is Dr. Brooke Bello, founder and CEO of More to Life, Serge Jorgensen, founder and CTO of cybersecurity company Silent, and Detective Jason Friday of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. Thank you all so much for being with us this evening. Of course, something that we've been here talking about over several evenings. I'm going to start with Dr. Bello. Tell us about the messages that you're finding, and what is the common link that these messages sound like or look like online?
Well, what I loved in the segment, Shared Hope International are good friends. So is Demand Abolition and Alex Trudeau of Youth Spark. And so all that data pretty much says that the messaging, for instance, we spoke before about child pornography being an issue. A kid could be playing an Xbox and he just wants to play his Xbox, but he's playing online. And so we always say that the whole world is in a pocket, whether it's an iPad or a smartphone. He gets a pop-up of something that is violent, something that is pornographic. His mom might said one time, if you see any of that stuff, push it away. But after a while, he can't. And so the messaging to him is saying that it's okay, that this is okay. And eventually he goes into a world that he never thought or she never thought they'd get into, an addiction.
And when someone reaches out, what are the conversations sounding like? How do they start? What are we looking for?
For some of our youth, for decoy ads, and Serge could probably speak to this as well. Hi, how you doing? How you doing today? Oh, I see you love blue. Oh, I see you like to play at this park. Oh, I see you like to go to the mall. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Melissa Snow, they have that beautiful NetSmart Internet Safety Program, which we utilize at More to Life, and we've added to it. And so a kid could just be putting their email on Snapchat and then putting it on Facebook. And that predator will follow that, and they begin to know their likes and dislikes and sometimes start a conversation that way, or because they're a friend of a friend of a friend.
Okay, and Deputy, when you're looking at these patterns on social media, what are you all looking out for?
I think we're looking for the language that's used a lot of the times, as far as what is the conversation coming in from this individual. Are they attempting to lure and entice someone to run away or do something like that?
And Serge, how safe are we online? We are very active on social media. Some of us, it's part of our jobs. Where do we balance this, where we want to be safe and we want our kids to be safe, but we don't want them to fall victim to something like this?
You're talking to the cybersecurity guy asking how safe you are. So I'll say not safe at all. But it is a balance between we have to have our life and we have to take advantage of that technology. You can't operate, I think, in today's world without some online presence. It really is finding that balance. So it's maybe not posting your entire life on Facebook. There was a rash a while ago of people posting their vacation schedule on Facebook, and then people would go burglarize the house. And it's the same thing as Doctor was saying. if you're posting your favorite colors and where you're going to be and all of this other information in your social media account, you have to expect that somebody's going to be mining that data, and they can do some research, and all of a sudden when they approach you online, and that first appearance and approach isn't a stranger anymore. It's someone that knows what kind of ice cream you like and what your favorite color is, and that you were at the mall last night, and the names of your friends. And it's not anymore that sketchy guy that walks up to you on the street and says, "Hi, I've got some candy, come in my van." It's somebody that says, "Hey, I brought you pistachio ice cream, and I saw you last night at the mall with your friends."
Right.
And that connection,
reaching out like there's a connection.
I think it forms that bond, that connection. It's no longer a stranger, it's more of a friend.
The picture of prostitution, human trafficking, once upon a time could have been, someone combing the streets, driving in their car to different tracks. Now a guy, or even a woman predator, all they have to do is sit online. That is the picture of prostitution.
So all that said, how safe are we? With care and caution, you can be safe, but it does take, I would say, awareness on parts of the parents and the adults, because kids tend to be overly trusting.
Right.
So they share a lot of information because they think they're sharing it with a small group of friends. But everything from sexting and phone sharing photos, and then that information can get taken and turned into blackmail and getting leverage against you. So you can be very safe, but with care.
That's what I just wanted to touch on, was for parents. If you all were speaking to parents and telling them this is what you should be doing as far as monitoring your child's social media, of course you want to give them some, you don't want to feel like you're just looking at every single message they're writing, but is that what we need to be doing to make sure that they're not falling victim to something like this?
I think so, to some degree. Our internet safety program, which will go into Sarasota County schools and in our family wrapping services with parents, Haley, we teach them an internet safety protocol. And there are certain hours your kids shouldn't be online alone. And you kind of have to monitor with software the church can speak about that you put on their tablets and their smartphones and their computers to see what they're doing, knowing where they are. Because you have to do it, especially prepubescent, before they hit puberty, when they're responsible, when they begin to really understand how safe they really need to be. And it can affect them going to college. There was a girl a couple years ago. She gave a picture to her boyfriend. He put online. She committed suicide because she didn't know that he was going to open it up to the whole world.
And Deputy, I'm assuming that you're seeing more and more cyber crimes as the years go on.
Well, in Sarasota, of course, we tend to see a lot of scams and cyber crimes, but mainly targeting our retired elderly population. But we are seeing some of the instances we're talking about today. But a lot of the issue we have is the lack of reporting, be it for embarrassment reasons or feeling that they might not be believed in what they're telling us.
What if we're just out there and we see something on social media, say we're not the victim, we're not the one that is receiving the messages, but we notice something that looks a little off on someone else's profile page? How do we report that?
You can call your local law enforcement agency. And just calling in a report does not necessarily mean that, it's always better to report something than not.
It doesn't make someone guilty, it just puts you all on alert.
Correct.
And other measures that we can take on our home computers or even on our smartphones or to put on kids' smartphones, what should we be doing?
There's the standard antivirus and all of those other software packages. Unfortunately, a lot of the supervision and control tools that are out there, restrictions on iPhone and grading music levels. Your kids can also Google how to defeat this, and they can get right around it. So it really is more about the awareness and being aware rather than relying on the tools. Unfortunately, we have a propensity to click on every single link that someone sends us. If I always joke about if somebody walked up to you on a street and handed you a clipboard and said, "Here, write down your name, address, social security number, date of birth, hair color, and eye color, and I will enter you in a chance to win a free iPad," you would walk away and not fill it out.
Exactly.
But for some reason, Detective and I see all the time lists of thousands of people that have filled this stuff out. So it's the awareness more
And
than
the
the tools.
education.
And that's what I think Dr. Bello would agree with. You talked about in our previous conversations how important parenting is. And it's not just about blocking your kids, but about maybe cultivating values and what they should be, you know, communicating with others.
Yeah, I think the education, Haley, is absolutely crucial. And a lot of kids, you know, that come from fatherlessness and single parenting home don't have the necessary oversight. And a lot of the kids we see that are trafficked do come from single parent homes where there is not that oversight or even the economic status to be able to afford some of that information, or the parent doesn't have enough time to teach their kids that. And so that's what we at More to Life do. You know, we recently had a 7-life sentence for a predator here locally. And 2 of the girls that are More to Life girls were sexually violated, familial sexually, by their father. And they were re-victimized, raped here locally. And one of the things that they like to do is social media. And this particular predator, they'd go in, be Baker acted, and then when they get out, he could look at them online, and they would respond because, oh, he's the guy who works at so-and-so. And so kids just need to understand who's safe, who's not. And if you don't know them, they're not really a friend. A Facebook friend doesn't mean a real friend.
That does not mean a real friend in real life. Thank you all so much for being with us. When we come back, we'll have some viewer comments about our stories yesterday.